Welcome to Planting Seeds. Come in, sit down, get comfy, take what resonates and leave the rest. Here's to planting hope and looking forward. You are loved. Don't ever forget that. Hello, everybody. Well, I said I didn't know if I was ever going to pull cards on this channel, but I could not help. After reading the astrology for today about this full moon and the other squares and stuff that are going on, I could not help but grab my Archangel Michael deck and ask for some guidance for the collective right now. The first card that came out, as you can see, he's painting a picture. There's a unicorn in the background. You know, there's a lot when you really look at this. I'm also just noticing the wings in the upper corner are really dark and there's white underneath. And here in the US, we have a bird that represents us and our country here. But I feel like that bird, for me, being a US citizen, which doesn't even feel right to say, but I feel that the bald eagle represents spirit and the freedom that we are all supposed to have. But there is a freedom coming from changing our perspective. And this might irk a few people, because the reality of what is happening in our planet right now, what is happening all over the world right now, is disgusting. It is disgusting. But if you look at this card, you see the message is you created this situation and you have the power to change it. Now, do I think that we put the systems in place that have been here for a long time, that are very corrupt and deeper than what some of us may realize? Do I feel like we put those people into power? No, I do not. But because when I first saw this card, I kind of went, like, what do you mean? You created this situation and you have the power to change it. But what goes on internally is what we have the power to change. And I know it's really hard for some people sometimes to believe. I know sometimes it's hard for me to believe that, like, if I work on my inner voice, my inner things, my inner demons, my mind and all the noise, if I work on those things, how could that really change the external? But it truly does. And back 2 messages ago, I taught, or maybe it was the last message, I can't remember. I talked about shifting the collective grid and how it starts with you as the individual. And, he's painting this beautiful picture, but if you really look at the picture, some parts look a little dark. You can't really tell how this painting's going to go. And it doesn't look like the unicorn that he's painting in front of him. So, and it almost looks like a mirror as well, which is something to think about. He's painting this picture, but it's not what he's actually seeing in front of him. So I think what Spirit is asking you is to, with this card particularly, is how can you change what you're actually seeing on the external? There's this beautiful mythical creature in front of him, and he is not acknowledging it, right? He's not acknowledging it. He's painting something completely different. Maybe the unicorn's there, maybe it's not. But he's adding in other things with the unicorn in the picture. And I think that's what it's about. What are you seeing externally, and how can you help the external and the internal balance out, right? How can you balance those two out to create a harmony for you? And yes, it is important to be loud and do what feels right to you to change things. And sometimes that is action, but it's not always going to be rioting or protesting for everyone. That's not everyone's path. But there is a fire in all of us today and going forward. And for some of us, it's been lit for a while, that is really going to need to shift a little bit. And so you've got to create, if you're in a lot of tension right now with the world and what's going on in the chaos, and you're having tension in your inner world because of that, you can control the inner world situations, right? You've got to shift those a little bit. And again, this is not This is not to bypass, deny anything that people are going through right now. People are dying, innocent people are dying and losing their lives, and it is disgusting. But the point of what Spirit is trying to tell me to get across is that you've got to shift your internal in the heart. If you are someone who is in a place where you're struggling and trying to figure out how can I help, I cannot reiterate this enough. Spirit keeps saying softening the inside, softening the heart, clearing the mind. Those things really fucking matter. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on YouTube. Those things really matter because, again, it sends out that shift into the collective, okay? All right, so I decided to just see which cards were on the top and the bottom of the deck. So on the bottom of the deck, we have you can see this angel holding this young boy, and it looks like he's picking him up from wreckage of maybe a natural disaster, right? And it says that the situation is already resolved, right? The situation is already resolved. There are some people on here that say that this is the end of the world. It's the doom and gloom, boom, blah, 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 blah. But you guys, it is the ending of a world, of an old paradigm, an old timeline, a old consciousness. But as for the physical world, no. But it is a huge shift. It is an ending. It is a divine ending. And it's something that really needs to happen, has got to happen for us to be able to create our new world. And part of creating our new world and this new earth and breaking down the power and taking away the power, because going back to that first card, that's another thing that came through, and I lost it in the sauce a little bit. So I see why Spirit's bringing it back up. We may not have put these entities into power. We may not have said, yes, let's do this. We want to do this. There was a control and a manipulation that happened to swindle us, right? However, we have surrendered and given up a lot of our power, especially with these little black boxes we hold in our hands, right? We've given away a lot of our power, our sentience, right? And there's some beautiful things, don't get me wrong, that have come out of social media and connection and all that. But when you really get down and think about it, it's another thing to control us, right? So we have surrendered power and given things away because we thought, well, we're going to give it another chance. We're going to give these people in power another chance. They've got to make it right. They've got to make it right, right? But there are situations that we have created, and we do have the power to change them. We truly, truly, truly do. And more people need to believe in that, because we really do. We really do have the power to change things. And I know that sometimes it's hard. It's really hard to see that, but we do have that power to change things. Okay, so going back to the second card, the situation is already resolved. There is a balancing. I'm not even going to say balancing. There is a recalibration and a reharmonizing that needs to happen, and is happening as we shift from these dark, heavy times into these lighter, more uplifted, higher elevated times. Like I said, the doom and gloom, and this is the end of the world. The world has already ended in a sense. The consciousness has already ended. That state of being and living has already ended. We saw that way back in 2020. We saw it even before 2020. There were things that started the domino effect, right? But that collapsing has already happened, and it's just continuing to close out and compress on itself so that it can shift and be destroyed and no longer exist. But the physical end of the world is not what's happening here. And I just want to reiterate that to people who may watch something, and you have these people that are supposedly using their gifts to cause fear, to spread fear, to plant seeds of fear within you. I really, Spirit is saying, like, it's not, this is not the time for that. And those people will be taken care of, but this is not the time. This is not the time. This is a time to have compassion and uplift your brothers and sisters, because we're all human. But the beautiful thing about this card is that, no matter what you believe in, there is a higher power, whether you believe in angels or not, but there is a higher power that really truly is coming to uplift us, to carry us home. And that home is inside of us. And sometimes we do need the external confirmation and things to affirm for us, right? And so I just, the situation is already resolved is not to give you false hope. It truly is to help you see that the peace will come. It's going to take time, but things really are shifting for the better. They are, and there's a lot of noise. And don't get me wrong, I had a few days where I just went back and forth about what was really happening, because there's a collective frequency that's so heavily dense and fear-based, and then there's a collective frequency that is people really praying. They're praying to God. They're reaching out to God. They're praying to their higher powers. They're trying to reach the angels. They're trying to reach the elemental beings. They're trying to reach out to their galactic family. And in trying, they're doing it. And so then we're anchoring more of that light. We're anchoring more of that protection. We're anchoring more of that healing within us. It's just gotta balance out. And, think about whenever I talk with my husband about politics, which we don't really do very much anymore, because I feel like sometimes it can just bring in nastiness with it, and it can make things really heavy. But when we do, I always tell him, well, what do you think it's going to look like when the ship is sinking and the rats are scurrying? That is what's happening right now. This old agenda that they have, the ship is sinking and the rats are scurrying. The fall of Troy, okay? And I know some people are like, I don't like that reference, but it's the ending of this capitalistic consumerism power that has just been just very heavily here in America. America, land of the free, is the biggest gimmick. And I know that there are other parts of this world where people are like, you guys have it so much easier here. And I understand physically, externally, there are luxuries in America that you have, but are they really yours? And do you really have them? Or is this a slavery flipped and twisted to look glamored? Is this a little bit of glamour magic, So, sorry, the little guy is fighting his nap. Anyways, I'm not even going to go into all of that. But okay, so the situation is already resolved. It was at the bottom of the deck. And then the top of the deck was God is in charge. No matter your religion, no matter what, your higher power, however you identify with the divine creator being, God is in charge. And you see this woman, and you can make all kinds of ideas, opinions, perspectives about who you think she is. But there is this beautiful woman holding this little boy, and there's no fear in her face. If anything, it's like calm, centered being. And she has this angel, the divine, Archangel Michael, whoever it may be, right next to her. And there's a stillness within her, right? And I just, I know I know that it's hard to like believe that there's this being that's reaching out to us and it's going to help us and protect us. You guys, it's everything. It took time for things to get this bad, and it's going to take time for things to get better. And though it took time for things to get this bad, I will add, astrologically, time and scientifically, time has sped up. And with that comes these moments, like when we have all this fire happening right now, the Aries full moon, fast, hard and fast. Okay, things will come fast. And the change, and it has happened swiftly, because Spirit, God, Source Divine says it's time. It's enough. Enough is enough. And there are galactic beings, guardians, people from other realms, other planets, other constellations that are really here guiding us. I'll have to make a separate video just talking about the battle in the sky. The dreams that I've had. That's what I call these dreams. They're just a battle in the sky. And I've had these. I remember my very first one, I think, was 2014. maybe 2015, my very first dream I ever had about this battling that was happening. But first it started here on earth with people being taken. And then I've had these repetitive dreams, but the story has just progressed. Every time I've dreamt about it, it changes, it shifts, and it's amazing. That is for another video because it's insane. And it would be a long video just discussing all the details and stuff. But God is in charge. The divine is in charge. And with that, you can surrender. There's a surrendering and letting go, but it doesn't mean to just surrender, let go, and then lay there like a fish. It's a surrendering and let go, and like doing things that feel right, doing things that help you feel like you are making a change. You're making a change in your internal world. You're making a change in your partner's world. You're making a change in your children's world. You're making a change in your neighbor's world. You're making a change in when you go out into public. And you just go, I'm just going to let my light shine while shielding myself, and protecting myself so that nobody can siphon my energy. But I'm just going to let my light shine, and whoever needs that light to shine on them, it will. And it'll activate something in them. Or you could say it'll activate hope in them. It'll activate love and kindness in them. Setting that intention for yourself while mindfully also protecting your energy, and making sure you shield yourself so that your energy can't be taken, but that you just turn the light on within yourself and let it shine out bright. And whether it just be in your smile or you imagine yourself walking around this beautiful planet like a glowing light bulb that is divinely protected, but shining their light on everyone and everything as if you were the sun made flesh and shining your light onto all the human beings that you cross paths with. And then as you cross paths with them, you instill love, kindness, whatever it is. Setting that intention alone is amazing. And it's like, so yes, the divine is in charge of all of this and helping us, right? But you do play a really important part. And it could even be sharing your words, sharing your dreams, sharing the messages that you get. I have been sharing messages and doing this for a very long time. It'll be about eight or 9 years of doing this. And my first platform was Instagram, and I really enjoyed it. And then, things shifted for me, and I really needed to go deeply internal. And I see with where I'm at now why I needed to go deeply internal, because it was really preparing me for this space that I would be in now, the ability to pull things in, the ability to just receive things. I wasn't even pulling things in anymore. Just sometimes I'll be driving and Spirit's like, here you go. And I'm like, whoa, okay, all right, cool. And I just accept the message and then share it. And so it is that simple to help create change. But it also, there can be some resistance that we create. So you've got to figure out how to get past the resistance. Another card that came up was write about your thoughts and feelings. And, again, that's that sharing your word. And even if you need to write about your thoughts and feelings and you don't need to share it, something beautiful you could do tonight with this full moon, this beautiful Aries full moon, have a fire or just a candle with a fire safe dish. Please, fire safety if you just use a candle. Write out your thoughts and feelings on a piece of paper. And you can either have a little fire, a little bonfire, and throw them in there to let them, whether they're prayers and upliftment, or you're asking the fire to cleanse these feelings and thoughts from you. It's a beautiful thing to do tonight or tomorrow night. Or place those thoughts and feelings underneath a white candle, or burn those thoughts and feelings with a candle, and make sure you have a fire safe dish to throw that piece of paper into while it finishes burning. Please practice fire safety. And just, even just sitting down with a lit candle and praying to God, this is what I need from you. This is what I'm asking you to clear for me, whoever your higher power is. I don't care if your higher power is a tree, because guess what? I fucking love trees. Love them. I just recently found out that these trees, my whole life, I've loved the way the wind blows through their leaves. I don't know what it is. It's the sound. I am from the Pacific Northwest, so we've got lots of trees, lots of evergreens. We've got all kinds of trees. The wind sounds different through different kinds of trees. And if you've never noticed that, you need to spend more time outside. It's no judgment against you, but get your butt outside. But for years, I could never figure out what these trees were. And I would Google and type in their characteristics and everything. And I'd be like, Spirit, can you just tell me what the kind of trees are? And then I asked the trees. I would ask them, what kind of tree are you? You never would tell me, would never answer me. And then one day, my husband and I are driving north with our kids. And I'm like, oh my gosh, those are my favorite trees, because I can identify them by the leaves and the bark, that those are my favorite trees. I don't know their not their species, but their I'm forgetting the word for trees. Oh my gosh, I should know this. I took a botany class, but anyways, I'm looking at them, and all of a sudden I just hear this little voice in my ear whisper, alder. And I'm like, what? Why didn't I think of that? Why didn't I look up the characteristics of an alder tree so that I could identify what kind of trees these were? Never once did alder pop into my mind. And that's a very popular wood. Never popped into my mind. And so I Google alders in my state, native alders to my state. And sure enough, alder trees. And I have a couple of them, and, they're just one of my favorite trees. They've meant the world to me. I love the way they sound when the wind blows through them. I absolutely adore them. There's evergreen trees they make my heart does this, like, I get this just like little giddy sensation in my chest whenever I go get to spend time in the evergreen trees. I really love ferns. If your higher power is a plant, if that's what you connect with more, go pray, bring a candle, go pray and talk to the plants. Talk to the plants in your backyard. Go talk to your garden. I love talking to my garden. Go talk to your houseplant, because in that is the divine, in that is God, in that is source, is Mother Earth. There's so much I just want to just word vomit out, but I really want people to understand, like, it's going to be okay. And I think that that's just like the message is it's going to be okay. I know it looks real scary and there's a heaviness right now, but there is a softening that needs to happen. In order to soften, we've really got to go internal and clean out the junk that's in there. So if you need to cry, you need to scream or anything today, fucking do it. Do it. But I love you all. And I want you to remember that you are so deeply loved, and it really is going to be okay. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. I promise. And if your mind's getting too squirrely, sit down and take some deep breaths. Remember what I talked about in that first video, the box breathing, the 4, 4, 4, and 4, right? Count to 4, count up to 4, down from 4, breathe in 4, and make sure you're breathing into your gut. So like, you can put your one hand on your tummy, one hand on your chest, to make sure that gut is rising first before that chest does. And breathe in for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, pause for 4. And do it as many cycles as you need to. And then take a really big, deep belly breath and slowly blow it back out when you're done. And find your natural breath, and then just be still. And just be. And I'm telling you that the last card, write about your thoughts and feelings. Somebody needs to get that out. And it's a good way to get it out, okay? And it's okay to be angry. Let it out. But let it out in a way that does not cause any more hurt or harm to yourself or others. Okay? I love you guys. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to yourself and one another. And thank you for being here. I appreciate it. I share these messages when it feels right, and that's that. I love you. Take care.